In this tutorial, I will show you how to model plastic deformation of a metal using Comsol Multiphysics. I will use a simple example of a cylindrical sample under tension. We can use the 2D axisymmetric space dimension for this model and select solid mechanics interface. And for the study, we are going to need a time-dependent study. You can also use a stationary study for this model, but I want to use a time-dependent study to show you the permanent deformation. So we can start by creating the geometry. We just need a single rectangle for the sample, and we will only create the upper half of the cylinder. And I will change the units to millimeters. Okay, so that's all we need for the geometry. For the material, we can go to the library and we will use aluminum for this model. So you can search for aluminum. Okay, it's loading the results. So we can insert the solid aluminum. The properties are already defined in this material, and the sample is selected automatically. Now in this model, we will increase the applied force gradually to a maximum, and then we will reduce it back to 0. So for that, go to Global Definitions, under Functions, insert a triangle function. So the lower limit will be 0, and the upper limit is 1, which stands for 1 second. You can plot this function to see its shape. So we will multiply this function by the applied force. So the force will increase from a 0 up to a maximum, and then it will go back to 0. The name of this function is try1. We can keep it as it is. And now we can go to the solid mechanics interface. Since we are modeling only the upper half of the cylinder, we need to insert a symmetry condition. So under boundaries, you can insert a symmetry plane and select the bottom edge. What the symmetry plane does is that it imposes a condition that the displacement along the z-axis is equal to 0. Because a tensile force will be applied at the upper part, and another force is applied at the bottom part. So at the center of the cylinder, we will get 0 displacement along the z-axis. Another way to do it is to go under boundaries and insert prescribed displacement, and then select prescribed z direction and keep it as 0. The displacement along the radial axis is free to change. We will use the symmetry plane here. And finally, we need to define the model that specifies the plastic deformation. By default, Comsol will define a linear elastic material. What we need to do is right-click on linear and select plasticity. So the material will behave in a linearly elastic fashion until the applied force causes the yield, the equivalent stress in the material to exceed the yield stress. Since we will experience large strains with the plastic deformation, we can select large plastic strains. This will increase the accuracy of the model. We will keep the yield function as the von Mises stress. So this is the condition for specifying when the material will start deforming plastically. When the maximum stress at any point exceeds the a given von Mises stress, which we will specify under initial yield stress, the material will start deforming plastically. So for aluminum, the value is 173 megapascal, so E6. And we need to specify the isotropic hardening model. So in the plastic region, the shape of the stress strain curve can be linear. This is the simplest model you can choose. We are going to use the Voss model, which is more realistic for aluminum because it is nonlinear. So it captures the behavior of the plastic deformation more realistically. We have two parameters associated with the Voss model. The first is the saturation flow stress, which specifies the maximum stress after the initial yield stress. So as the stress in the material increases, it reaches the yield stress, and then the material starts deforming plastically. And if the applied force continues increasing, the stress in the material will continue increasing up to the saturation stress. It cannot exceed this value. You can also think of this value as the maximum or the ultimate tensile stress. So we will specify this as 85.5 megapascal. So the ultimate stress in this case will be 173 megapascal plus 85.5 megapascal. 85.5 megapascal is the extra stress in the plastic region. And we also need to specify the saturation exponent, which tells us how fast the actual stress in the material approaches the ultimate stress. So the higher this number, the faster the material will reach the ultimate stress. So this is all we need for defining the plasticity model. Now we need to insert the boundary load. I will select the upper boundary, and we'll keep it as force per unit area. So in the z direction, we will insert a force of 240 megapascal per meter square, and we will multiply this by the triangular function that we defined. So the input to the triangular function will be time, and we need to normalize the units, so 1 over second. So we need to add 1 over second because this function over here, which we defined, the triangular function, it does not take any input units. So the input needs to be unitless. So that's what we have for the physics. Now we can create the mesh. We will use a mapped mesh, and we will reduce the size. That's all for the meshing. And now we need to insert the default solver and make a few changes. We will save many data points from 0 to 1 second in steps of 0.01 seconds. Under solution, make sure the direct solver is selected. It is selected in this case. Under time-dependent study, change the time-stepping method to BDF. This is more reliable for what we need to do. And under the fully coupled node, go to method and termination, and select the nonlinear method to be automatic Newton. Automatic Newton will be more robust in this case because the plastic deformation will be highly nonlinear, as you will see in the results. So after that, we can click on compute. The model should take less than a minute to solve. You can look at the convergence plot. So you can see as the force reaches the maximum value, the material will start deforming plastically, and so Comsol will reduce the step size. Okay, so the solution is ready now. We can insert a 2D plot and plot the von Mises stress. So since we have uniform cross-sectional area, the stress will be uniform at every point in the sample. Now I will plot a 1D graph to show you how the stress varies with strain. So 1D plot, insert a point graph, and we will select the center of the cylindrical sample. On the y-axis, we will plot the stress along the z-axis. So that's given by solid.sz. And on the x-axis, we need to plot the strain. So change parameter to expression and select solid.ezz. If you are not familiar with this terminology, you can just click on the replace expression and type whatever you want here, and Comsol will show you a list of options from which you can select. So now we can plot. So you see, this is the stress-strain curve. I will zoom on the initial elastic part. You can see in the initial part that the slope is constant. So we have a straight line, because here the material is deforming elastically, and if we remove the load, it will go back to its original point. However, we continued increasing the load in this model, so after the yield point, which is somewhere over here, the material starts deforming plastically. And you can see the huge reduction in the slope of the curve, and it is no longer a straight line. You can see that it is nonlinear. So it increases to a maximum. This is at 0.5 seconds, and then we remove the load. And then, since the plastic deformation is permanent, the graph does not go back to zero. So we can see there is some strain remaining in the sample, and there is some residual stress. We can look at the actual deformation here of the sample. We can right-click on the surface and insert a deformation node. Click on scale factor and use a value of 1. This will show you the realistic or the true deformation of the sample. And at time equals 1 second, let me go to 0 seconds first. So this is the original shape of the cylinder. And then at 0.5 seconds, we have the maximum load. So it will be stretched to a maximum. And then as the simulation proceeds, the material will kind of rebound slightly. It will contract slightly, but at 1 second, when the load is completely removed, we can see that there is some residual strain. So this is the new shape of the cylindrical sample, and this extra elongation is caused by the permanent plastic deformation in the sample. So that's it for modeling plastic deformation in Comsol. You can, as an exercise, you can try more complicated models. You can do a cantilever beam, for example, or you can try indentation of a surface. There are many applications in which modeling plastic deformation is useful. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this video useful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thank you.